For a long time, window tint had a very specific reputation. It was seen as a purely cosmetic add-on, mostly meant to make a car look aggressive or give the driver some privacy. But vehicle and home designs have evolved. With massive panoramic glass roofs and floor-to-ceiling windows, our modern spaces have essentially become mobile greenhouses that trap intense solar heat. This chart shows how the industry has shifted to solve that problem. We're looking at a quadrant mapping aesthetic upgrades on the bottom against climate and asset protection on the side. Watch how the technology has moved from a basic visual accessory right up into a high-performance climate control tool. These modern films sitting in the top right serve a completely different purpose. They are engineered barriers designed to physically reject solar radiation before it ever passes through the glass and bakes the cabin. Keeping that heat outside reduces the energy required to cool the interior, leading to lower utility bills or less strain on your vehicle's battery. If you stick to the old perception of tint and leave that glass bare, you are actively choosing to let UV rays degrade your interior while wasting money trying to cool a space that's constantly heating up. But when you actually go to fix this problem, the market is incredibly confusing. You are immediately hit with technical jargon like nano-carbon, apex super ceramic, and 2mm ply. The pricing is just as chaotic. You can request a quote for the exact same vehicle and get numbers ranging wildly from $100 to well over $500. Paying top dollar for performance specs you don't actually need is a waste of cash. On the flip side, going too cheap means you'll still be sweating in your driver's seat by July. So how do you cut through the marketing noise? We need to figure out exactly how to match the right tier of film and the right installation method to your specific vehicle, your local climate, and your actual budget. The evaluation has to start by looking at the lowest barrier to entry: standard dyed films and cheap do-it-yourself kits. The initial appeal is obvious. For a very low upfront cost, you get immediate window darkening and total visual privacy from the outside. However, that cheap dye and standard adhesive simply cannot survive continuous exposure to ultraviolet light. They fail rapidly. Within a year or two, the black dye fades into that infamous, ugly purple hue. Worse, the adhesive breaks down, creating massive pockets of hazardous bubbling that completely block your rear vision while driving. When that happens, you can't just peel it off. You have to pay a professional to carefully scrape away the baked-on adhesive and completely replace the film from scratch. That budget option is really a temporary cosmetic patch. It will end up costing you significantly more time and money than if you had skipped it entirely. The first truly viable upgrade for a daily driver is metal-free nano-carbon film. Instead of using cheap dyes, this material is manufactured with microscopic carbon particles embedded directly into the film. That ensures the rich, dark color is permanent and will never fade or turn purple. Looking at our comparison matrix, the nano-carbon column shows a 99% block of UV rays. It acts like a permanent sunscreen to prevent your interior from cracking. It also provides a solid layer of climate control, blocking 40. If maximum climate control is the goal, the top-tier technical option is a 2mm nano-ceramic film. Ceramic technology works on a different level. It specifically targets and rejects the infrared spectrum of light, which is what actually causes heat, and it does this without needing to be visibly dark. This level of protection becomes critical when you look at modern electric vehicles. Cars like Tesla's feature massive panoramic glass roofs that act like giant magnifying glasses, trapping severe heat inside the cabin. That trapped heat creates a massive ripple effect. To cool down that rolling greenhouse, the vehicle's air conditioning system has to run constantly. This actively drains the EV's battery and noticeably reduces your driving range. Let's pull that comparison matrix back up. As the nano-ceramic column populates, you can see it rejects up to 95% of infrared heat. That lowers the interior temperature. And because it achieves this without metallic layers, it causes zero interference with your cell phone or GPS signals. While a ceramic package requires a higher initial outlay, the temperature drop inside the cabin allows the vehicle to operate at its peak efficiency. For owners of cars with large glass roofs, this film is a functional requirement to keep the cabin habitable without draining the battery. The film chemistry is only half the equation. The final variable that dictates your overall cost and effort is the actual installation process. The traditional brick-and-mortar shop experience requires you to drop off your car, lose half a day sitting in a waiting room, or figure out an Uber ride back home. The alternative is hiring a professional mobile installer. They bring the premium film, the tools, and the technical expertise directly to your driveway or your office parking lot. The job generally takes 2 to 4 hours from start to finish. Your car never leaves your sight, and you can spend that time continuing to work or just relaxing inside. The strict requirement for this to work is that you must provide a reasonably level parking spot and a controlled environment. A clean garage is ideal to ensure no wind or debris interferes with the application. If you have the right space, mobile installation removes the biggest friction point of the process. It converts a massive personal time drain into a seamless background task for busy professionals. Making the right choice means aligning the film chemistry and the installation method with the problems you face every day. This flowchart maps out exactly how to make that decision. If you are a budget-conscious commuter, your main priorities are likely standard visual privacy, a sleek aesthetic upgrade, and basic UV protection. You should map directly to nano-carbon film. Skip the cheap dyed kits to ensure a permanent, non-fading result, even if it means sacrificing extreme heat rejection. Let's trace the next branch. If you are a performance-first EV owner, you are dealing with massive glass panels and the very real issue of battery range anxiety. Your clear solution is nano-ceramic film. We strongly recommend extending that coverage to the full glass roof and windshield to neutralize the greenhouse effect and protect your driving range. Finally, look at the overarching branch for the time-poor optimizer. If you value sheer convenience and efficiency above all else, you should choose the mobile installation route. You can pair it with either carbon or ceramic film, entirely eliminating the friction of driving across town and sitting in waiting rooms. Whether you prioritize your upfront budget, your battery range, or your own time, choosing the right film and installation method protects your interior and keeps you cool for as long as you own the vehicle.